Mr. Fleischmann, you have the floor, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for appearing before us today. Thank you for your service to our nation. As you may know, I'm the chair of the Energy and Water Subcommittee of Appropriation, and I have a rather unique constituency in the great city of Oak Ridge around there. Earlier today, we had Secretary Granholm before us. So my questions are going to be centered around that. The first question is going to involve strategic and nuclear stability, sir. As we know, Russia has unfortunately suspended its participation in the New START Treaty, a move that greatly saddens and concerns me. I grew up in an era of mutually assured destruction and the like. I'm 60 years old, so I don't want to see another arms race. But we've seen China at the same time make it clear that they have no interest in discussing arms control. So my question for you, Mr. Secretary, is do you anticipate the global strategic stability will continue to deteriorate through the rest of the decade in light of what Russia and China is doing? And what measures can we take as a nation? And I'll be specific, perhaps something along the lines of regaining our ability to domestically enrich uranium as one matter. But I want your thoughts on that, specifically regarding our own nuclear arsenal to strengthen us as a nation. What are your thoughts, sir?
Thank you. Look, I share this concern, and I think Russia's decision to pull out of New START was both deeply regrettable and deeply irresponsible. The limitations of START, which it says it's going to continue to comply with, but also the verification procedures, the inspections, the notifications, all good for us, also, frankly, good for them. I think they made a big mistake. To your point about China, this is a real concern as they build up their arsenal in a very opaque way. And we've engaged them on, at the very least, working on risk reduction with us if they're not willing to engage in arms control. Thus far, that's not something they've been willing to do. So I think this poses a growing problem. We are determined, and we will make sure that our own nuclear stockpile, and for however long nuclear weapons are needed, is safe, secure, effective, and we're determined to do that. When it comes to making sure that we have appropriate supplies and we don't have dependencies on other countries, that's something we're also looking very hard at as well, and I appreciate your focus on it.
Yes, sir. The second issue deals with global energy geopolitics. Our adversaries, and I'll be specific, the Russians and the Chinese, go into countries with a very attractive and lucrative package for civil nuclear energy. They'll agree to build, they'll agree to finance, they'll agree to run a nuclear power plant. I've spoken with leaders in Poland, I've spoken with leaders in the Czech Republic, being specific, Romania. They come to me and they say, we do not want to do business with these other countries. We want to do business with the United States. The problem that we're seeing, and I've spoken with members of both administrations, spoke with someone from the Biden administration last night about that, very knowledgeable gentleman, talking about the fact that we do not have a funding mechanism to allow us as a nation to compete. We've got some of the best nuclear designs in this country. As a matter of fact, today I was with TVA and GE Hitachi. They're looking at a model, but there's several small modular nuclear reactors out there that could allow the United States to go in and not only compete and win in the global markets economically, American jobs and the like, but also to thwart that geopolitical advantage that our adversaries have. So my question is, what do you see as a financing mechanism? Could it be the EM Bank? What are your thoughts about that? I've spoken with the folks at the World Bank. They say no. Where are you on this?
Yeah, again, very much agree with you on this. We have, I think, a huge opportunity with the small modular reactors. The technology is extremely attractive. We have, as you know, an agreement with Romania to proceed with that. We're working on a number of others. But to your point, in the absence of adequate financing, especially for countries that are challenged, it makes it a lot harder. So one of the mechanisms that I've tried to turn on and direct at projects like this, which it wasn't doing in the past, is DFC, Development Finance Corporation. And I think we're seeing some success there. We have to find ways to get some, in some cases, some equity in the game, or at least to help finance part of it. At the end of the day, as we all know, our comparative advantage is being a catalyst for the private sector. We're not going to match some of the a country like China, for example, dollar to dollar with taxpayer resources. But if we're using the tools that we have in government effectively, like DFC, like XM, et cetera, then we can catalyze the private sector, but they need to have some sense of security that at least the beginnings of the foundation of financing is there. And again, I think the DFC is one of the tools that we're now trying to use in that area too.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for your answers to my questions, and I appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.